Okay, ready? AI is already here. It can do tasks in a matter of seconds that humans take minutes or even hours for. I'm Cameron Cook, and I'm going to be explaining how AI is changing future careers. I'll start off with explaining LLMs, and then I'll move into my main points, which is automation, careers, workflows, and then I'll give a fun little example at the very end. Now, what is an LLM? An LLM is a large language model. So these basically take large amounts of data, and what they do is they do pattern prediction, right? So these aren't human minds. They aren't really that smart. They don't do any critical thinking. They just pattern predict, right? They use stats and math in order to be able to pump out stuff in ChatGPT, right? So then that leads me into automation. What are they actually automating, right? So McKinsey states that 60 to 70% of work activities will be automated in the next few years, right? And that looks like customer service, right? So when you go to deal with certain companies and you deal with chatbots from now on, right? You're gonna be dealing with things that will be able to answer basic questions. And then in office, right? In the office, there will be things that they'll be able to summarize information better, right? So if you have a ton of documents, it'll be able to summarize it into one. And then operations. A lot of operations will be augmented from now on, which will mean that you'll be working alongside AI rather than so you'll basically have like a personal assistant, right? And then that leads me into what new careers are gonna be available. So the World Economics Forum back in 2025 stated that 170 million new jobs would be available by 2030, right? So that looks like jobs like AI engineer, right? AI ethics. So all these new jobs will be able to be created, right? And it's funny because a lot of people are saying that AI will take away jobs, right? And Anthropic, which is the leader of Claude, right? They actually said that coders would go down. But the funny thing is that actually they're producing more developers and more coders ever in order to be able to produce more AI. And then that leads me into workflow and actually how it's working inside that. So Anthropic states that 57% of their AI use is actually augmented, right? So they're using them as assistants, right? So that's how it started a few years ago. It started with the AI was working alongside very assistant, and you had that at your desk, and then now it's moving more towards industry use. So in the medical field, for cancer, for example, there's if you give AI a picture of 1,000 moles, right, it'll be able to detect which ones actually have cancer and which ones don't. And it'll be able to do that in a matter of seconds, right? Well, it would take a human days, right, in order to do that, because they'd have to specifically go through it. But since AI is trained on pattern recognition, it's able to do it very fast. And then in the last 6 months, they came out with these things called AI agents. Now, AI agents are they're able to do multi-step processes, and they're able to actually go into your computer and help you, right? So they're able to help you on Canva, they're able to help you on PowerPoint, even Word, right? And they're able to write this stuff in a matter of seconds. So it's not that AI is taking us over, it's actually that AI is helping us be more efficient, right? It's like a brain alongside us, and it's an assistant that can help make us better. But then AI is still not there yet, right? It can still be biased. If you give it the wrong information and you give it stuff that isn't correct, it can still end up getting hurt, right? So that's why we still need human judgment, and we still need to be able to critically think and be able to differentiate what ChatGPT is saying, what's good and what's bad. And that leads me to my final point. AI will most likely just be our computer or our calculator, right? Back then they said that when the calculator came out, they said that we would lose all of our math skills. It wasn't that we lost our math skills, it was that we were able to become more efficient, right? And they said when the computer came around that people would lose jobs, right? But now there isn't a job that you don't require a computer or a phone. And that's the same thing with AI, right? AI is just gonna make us more efficient, and it's gonna make it so that we will be able to become better. So today I touched on automation, new careers, and workflows, and that's my presentation on AI. Thank you.